Hello, can you hear me? Can you comment if you can hear me? Yay, you can hear me. Okay, 2 more minutes. Hi, ladies. This is my first time going live, and yesterday I was reading some comments, and I just got super inspired because some of the women in the group were posting about, how to talk to their husbands and how to ask for things and still be vulnerable and still empower him in the process where it doesn't break out into a fight. And I've been struggling with this for a long time. So I was like, I need to do a live about this. And I've been wanting to do a live, but I didn't know what topic to do it on. And I just was like, let me just talk about this. So this is the first time I'm doing a live. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to wait another minute to see if a few more people pop on before I get into the, meat and potatoes of this. Hi, Gloriana. So good to see you and connect with you here. This is one of my past brides from like years ago. When was it that you got married? How many years ago? Hi, Sean. Hi, Denise. Welcome. Okay, while we wait for a few, oh my God, October 2008, Gloriana, it's been forever, but I'm so happy to reconnect with you. In the comments, I would love it for you ladies, just so you have something at stake, to comment what it is that you want to ask or what you have struggles with asking your partner about. So comment below what that is. Because I want to talk into that so I can guide you, coach you, around those requests. So what do you guys want to ask your partner with, or what do you have trouble asking him for? I know for me, the biggest thing that I have trouble asking my husband for, or at least that I've been struggling with and like keep coming to, is help around the house and more help with the kids. So yeah, I've been working through that and like just learning how to ask him where I'm not blaming him, making him wrong, complaining, and just coming from a place of partnership. And I'm going to share more about that in all of the examples that I share. But I want to know what you guys are dealing with. So let's see. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm trying to read your comments and I don't see them, what you're wanting to ask them for, but as they come in, I'm sure that I'll see them. Okay, so it's 2:02. So I'm going to just kind of dive in and start to talk about what I want to share with you guys today. And what I want to share with you about is just how to ask your partner for anything without feeling disempowered and without taking power away from him. So a lot of times in our communication with our men, what we do is when we ask them, make requests of them, we have a complaint. So I see somebody wants for her man to do more projects around the house. So there are specific things that you need to do before even having the conversations. It's very common for us to kind of have these conversations after we've already had this complaint in our head for a while. And, we keep complaining and then we throw it at them like, hey, you haven't been doing this. And, why aren't you doing this, or complaining about it? So if you really want to be powerful in your communication with your partner, the first step is to be mindful and to be conscious about what you want. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself a few questions before you have these conversations with them. And I want you first to think about what is the intention of the communication. So most likely when you think about your intention, and actually, can you guys comment in the comments, what is your intention of your communication with what you want? So for me, I want him to help around the house more, to help with laundry, to do blah, blah, blah. And when I think about my intention, like the first thing I want to go to is I want help because I'm struggling and he's not helping. And then if you go to a complaint, because naturally when we ask ourselves what we want, we're going to go to a complaint of something that we don't have. So if you're going to a complaint, I want you to notice that this complaint has nothing to do with what you want, and it has everything to do with him. So I want you to ask yourself, why do you want this? Okay. So for example, I want my husband to help me around the house. Well, is that what I really want? Why do I want him to help me around the house? And when I ask myself that question, what comes up for me is, so we can have, cleanliness in our house, so we can both feel good when we're home. So then when I ask, and I want you to keep asking yourself why until you get to a place of what your intention is and what your kind of big why is. And it's going to inspire you. That's when you know that you got there. So for me, when I keep going, asking myself, why do I want this? And going deeper and deeper to ask myself this. So why do I want cleanliness and for us to have this like peaceful feeling? Because it brings me peace when our house is clean. Because I want that, because I want a partnership and I want connection with my husband. And that inspires me. When I get to that place, I'm like, holy cow, that's what I want in my relationship. And it has nothing to do with him. It's just something that really inspires me. So you ask yourself what your intention is. You keep asking the whys until you get to your intention. So you get from complaint to, your intention. Then you ask yourself, well, who's responsible for this? And consider that you actually make him responsible for what you want. For me, I use him as an excuse why I can't have my house clean, because, he's not helping. And consider that this way of being is not something that is actually fulfilling on your intention. So for me, complaining about what he's not doing, it's not fulfilling on my intention of partnership and connection. So you need to get to a place of how can I be responsible for what I want in my life? So I have to ask myself, how can I be responsible for having connection and partnership in my relationship? So when you get to that place, then you're ready to have the conversation with your husband or your partner. And this is, I called it, or my husband and I actually came up with this process just through all the work that we've been doing. And it's just like a really simple but not easy process. It's going to take so much courage and to have that conversation, to ask him for what you want in your relationship. Because here's the thing, like our default way of being and our default way of thinking as women is we usually complain about whatever we don't have. And we complain about it silently in our heads, and we never actually are vulnerable enough to like take ownership of that we're complaining about it. Okay? We've learned that, you know, in order to get something, we have to complain about it and then kind of force it. Okay? This is, you know, what we might have learned from our moms or other women, or like there's this separation. And what I want you to think about it, or this is a really like a different way of thinking about it, that your partner, when you get to your intention of why you want this, so for me, partnership and connection, your partner is actually probably wanting the same things. Like I know my husband, he wants partnership and connection. He might not want to clean around the house, but if he gets that that is, you know, fulfilling on partnership and connection, then he's going to be inspired to do it. So I'm going to show you now, how do you talk to them and actually like inspire them to want to do what you're asking them to do and be aligned with your intention and actually bring him on board with that intention. Because most likely he either has the same intentions in your relationship or he wants to support you in your intentions. Okay. So, so this is going to be the access to power conversation. So the first step is you're going to share with him what you've been complaining silently about and where you haven't been open and honest with him about. So for me, I actually literally, as I was like preparing for this live, I was like, oh my God, last night, you know, I was in the kitchen and I left out all this food that I was cooking. And by the time I came down, it was like 9 o'clock and I saw all the food out. Right away, I went to a complaint that, you know, oh, he didn't pick this up and he didn't see this and he's not supportive, yada, yada. And then I realized, I'm like, no, like he has no idea even that there's all this food here. So I let it go. And today I realized, okay, like I was making him wrong and I was blaming him for something that I never even communicated about. So the first step is that you take responsibility that you've been making him wrong and that you've been kind of like blaming him for something. And this is the hardest step to do. But I want you to think about something. Responsibility is not about, you know, blaming somebody or beating yourself up about it. Responsibilities, like you get to be responsible for what you want in your life. So for me, if I want a partnership and connection with my husband, I need to be responsible for that. Like nobody else can be responsible for me having that. So for me to have, you know, a conversation with him about where I haven't been responsible for that is my access to having what I want in our relationship. And are you guys getting this comment? And, you know, let me know if you're with me, because I know this is like a deep conversation, but I want to make sure you're getting what I'm saying, or if you have any questions, please comment. Okay. So that's the first step, is you take responsibility for where you've been complaining, where you've been making him wrong, and, you know, where he hasn't been meeting your expectations and how you're responsible for creating those expectations in the first place. So for example, For me, I will have a conversation with him and it'll sound something like this. Hey, last night when I came down and I saw all the food, I started blaming you for not cleaning it up and, for leaving it. And I'm sorry, like I realized that I didn't even ask you to do that. And I'm responsible for having that conversation with you. So that's the first step. Then the next step is you get into his world, get into the impact of you complaining about something, okay? So, I thought about it and I said to him, like, I realized that the impact on you is like, you have no idea that I even expected you to pick up the food. Like, I never even communicated that to you. And then, I was upset about it and like I felt disconnected from you. So you get the impact on you and on him. And you must have probably been wondering, like, what the heck is wrong with her? Why is she like pouting? Why is she not, being nice to me or patient with me? So you really recreate the impact that, that was created. And once you do that, he's going to feel so relieved because, in relationships, even though we don't say specific things, we feel it, like people feel it. There is unspoken communication that we all have. And even though our husbands, they might not know what's going on, they feel our energies off. So when you actually talk about, when you take responsibility, take the blame off, and then you talk about what the impact is, you totally recreate his whole world. And he's like, oh yeah, like that's how I felt. And then you actually create a space for a listening. Like he's going to pay attention to whatever you're going to ask him. So then he's ready to listen to you because that defense, mechanism that he's going to have is going to be gone, hopefully. And if it's not, just keep checking in with yourself. Like, where am I not taking responsibility? Where am I still blaming him? Or ask yourself, am I still blaming him? And if you still are, then keep taking responsibility until you feel like, he's listening. And then you actually can talk about what your intention is. And then, ask him for help or whatever the accountability or whatever structure you need to create to make it happen and fulfill on your intention. So for example, for me, when I get what the impact has been, I tell him, that's not what I'm committed to having. Like, I don't want to complain. I don't care about making you wrong. All I want to do is I want to have a partnership with you in our house. And where we're connected, where everything works, where we have communication that's open. So that's what my intention is in our relationship. And, like when I share that with him, he's like, yeah, I want those things too. And I'm like, and I know, and you can even recreate, like, I know you don't necessarily like cleaning up, but I'd feel really supported if you, can, ask me what I need, or if you can help me do this project, or in this instance, like if you can just check the kitchen and make sure it's cleaned up before, we go to bed. Because for me, that's important. Like he could care less about the kitchen being clean, but for me, it's really important. So, when you enroll him in that intention that you both have, then he's going to be on board with whatever the request is, because he wants those same things most of the time. So yeah, you need to create also, after you have the talk, you need to create some kind of a structure for accountability. And here's the thing, like, you're not going to want to do this, and you need to keep doing this on a regular basis. And it's going to take practice, because our default way of being is not to have these honest conversations with our partners. Our default ways of being is like just complain, don't have what I want, and, find other people why we can't have the things that we want. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like what we've learned, how to survive. So I hope this video is helpful. and this information. Do you guys have any questions? Who's still here? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Denise. Gloriana. Comment below if you have any questions, because I want to answer any questions you guys have before I get off. I don't want to make it so long, but I also want to make sure that we answer those questions. And if you're, like if you got something out of this, post a little heart or whatever, a smiley face or something, so I know that you guys are getting this. And then I want you to also comment what you're going to talk to him about. What are you going to be vulnerable about? Because, it takes being vulnerable and it takes getting uncomfortable. I know I shared about vulnerability in another post, but this is what these kinds of conversations are all about. So. Okay, I'm not seeing questions, so I'm going to sign off. I'm going to, I really appreciate your time. I know that everybody has like such busy schedules, and for the ones that watched, I really acknowledge you for taking the time to really like go to work on your relationship. And I know it's such a thing that we, a lot of times as women, like we don't want to deal with it. We'd rather just, focus on our kids or housework or work or whatever, rather than being vulnerable and getting uncomfortable. But this is what it takes in a relationship sometimes. So I appreciate you. And I'm going to do more of these lives. And if you guys have any, topics that you want me to cover, I am happy to. I'm going to start doing them weekly. So please either private message me or post in the comments of what you want to know about. And I'd be happy to do, a little like webinar or whatever, Facebook Live about it. Okay. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday and we'll talk soon. Bye.